Hey everybody, hope you guys doing all right. So, yesterday, I'm just gonna say someone made a video. I'm tired of saying that other word, those other words. Someone made a video, and I'm not sure if I don't know if they made a video. I saw a post from somebody's other channel, a certain somebody, and the title was essentially I'm nothing but a pathological liar, and also that just psychobabble. Like what I'm talking about is just psychobabble. And I'm just gonna go ahead and share with you guys how I feel about what I saw. I'm a little mixed up because a part of me feels like this was an attempt for a somebody. I get saying this type of shit is not the way that most people do things, but that's not who I am. So I'm just gonna be fucking me. I feel like it was an attempt for a certain somebody to try to breach communications, to develop a line of communications um, that has not been developed in quite a while. Like we haven't communicated in a while. So I appreciate the gesture. I feel like there was an intent to at least communicate with me. So I appreciate that. I do. However, the words she chose to use to initiate the communications was of kind of like just all negative. It was all negative about me and my person, and it's like I'm about just for me, it's all about the whole truth, like the whole truth, the good and the bad. So it's like when I see people just focusing on the negative aspects of a situation, right there, that tells me where their head's at. It tells me where their mind's at. It tells me where their energy's at. It tells me where their motive is at. It's just to focus on the negative shit, and it's like not only I mean like the whole world is suffering because of all this low vibrational negativity. Like largely a lot of us all over the world are suffering because there's so much of this misery on the planet. And it's like to me it just seems like just foolish and just like silly, and also just the perpetuating more misery to just focus on that. And it's like, why? I mean, I get it too. Like when people are hurt, like misery loves company. Like they're in a place of pain, like Crixus, character. I mean, he has actually a real person that existed back in ancient Roman times. Who was a gladiator that fought with Spartacus, and it was them two. I think he was. I don't know if he really was a champion, but in the show they made him as the first champion. And Spartacus came along and became the next champion, but it was them two, the leaders of this slave unit in ancient Rome, that were the ones responsible with essentially fucking overthrowing the Romans' ability to have. They overthrew Rome and they escaped being prisoners of Rome whilst they were being gladiators, and they left a whole fucking slave revolt of gladiators and slaves and shit like that. They freed a bunch of people, and actually Spartacus ended up leading a whole bunch of slaves and people away from Rome, and Crixus ended up taking a bunch of gladiators and tried to fight fucking Rome and tried to beat them. And Spartacus ended up going to help out Crixus, but unfortunately that they weren't able to defeat Rome. But they did end the gladiator slave situation as it was. Things changed after that drastically because they were like, oh, the Romans were like, fuck, dude, these people almost fucking defeated us. Like they had to get their whole. I mean, most of you guys probably know the story, so it's pretty profound what they did. But anyways, Crixus, the character Crixus in the show, there's a line that he talked about which always stuck, just it resonated very deeply with me. And he was talking about pain. And he was talking about how the pain that he feels is alleviated when he administers pain on others. And that just ties perfectly in with the whole fucking hurt people. And it's because I know I've done it myself. Like when I'm hurting myself and I choose to yell at somebody or yell at something, that is me taking that miserable hurt feeling and distributing it somewhere else. But afterwards, I want to ask you guys, how do you feel afterwards? Like after you yelling at something for something that, and a lot of times it doesn't even need to be yelled at. Like you're just you're overreacting. Like when you overreact at something and when you treat it in a negative fashion because you're feeling a negative type of way, you're not going to feel positive afterwards. Like that's not the way shit works. So upon seeing that, and it's like this is kind of a tumultuous time for myself and the rest of the world, and I feel for a certain person too. I'm seeing this go down, and I'm like, well, part of me is like drawn to it because I feel like she's like in her own way trying to fucking open up and communicate with me, which I really appreciate. But another part of me is like the seed that she's choosing to plant to get this thing going is of a malevolent sense. Like it's not a pleasant feeling. Like it's again, it's not all about being totally pleasant, but when that's all that's being focused upon is the negativity of a situation, right then and there, it tells me that person is essentially could overcome to the point to where that's all that they can display is negativity. And it's like again, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of signs and messages from a certain person talking about a lot of beautiful things, a lot of good things, a lot of lovely things. And it's like, not that I want to take away all the bad, but it's like, why not just talk about both? Why not include a title that is inviting of both, of the good and the bad of the situations? Like, let's not just discredit one aspect of something and focus totally on something else when there's a whole fucking other range of colors and emotions involved in the situation. And I think she, again, I feel like the seed that she, what she did